And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today, we are going to discuss what your biggest problem is. And obviously, everyone has different problems. Everyone has have different lives. And but at the same time, I see repeated patterns in the vast majority of men. And so we need to talk about it. And I was intrigued by what the roommates asked the other day. Obviously, I follow these guys, and that's why you guys are getting a lot of stuff from them. They have a lot of really good videos, so you can go and subscribe to them, but a lot of times they're also, wrong. But we agree on 95% of the stuff that they're talking about. And this was a really good question. What is the biggest issue plaguing men today? This is the Men of High Value channel. What is the biggest thing plaguing men today? Is it the inability to get women? Is it no positive community? Is it a lack of purpose? Is it a confused identity or unstable finances? Can you guess the one that most people voted for? Because in my opinion, that's the one that you personally have the biggest problem with. And I'm going to expound on that thing because it's not just that thing, okay? There's a huge umbrella of things that go under that thing, okay? So, which one is it? Well, I'm going to choose it for you, and you'll figure it out. Let's go. Lack of purpose. Look at the percentages. It's not even close. The biggest problem for men in the world today, according to 34,000 votes on their channel, is that men lack purpose, a reason, a why. That's why men have problems, or that is the biggest issue that are facing men today. Now, this is very interesting though. We'll get back to this one, but if you look at what was your biggest problem when I asked that question just a few days before they asked theirs, we come to a different conclusion. What is the biggest problem in your life right now? 46% of people said my love life. And for those of you who've been around my channel for a while, you might understand how disappointing this is for me to know that out of 39 people voting, it wasn't a lot of, a big sample size, but 46% of those guys, their love life is their biggest problem. The correct answer was my work ethic. I've made so many videos on the 80-hour work week that, in my opinion, will solve the vast majority of your problems. The vast majority of your problems, if not all of them, over time. But 46% of you choose my love life. That's a problem. So, but let's go back. Let's go back to the roommates. Here we go. Lack of purpose. Okay. I'll explain to you right now, in terms of lack of purpose, look at inability to get women. You'd think that a lack of purpose has to do with women. And in my opinion, it in many ways does. Because in the past, men had purpose. Today, they don't have very much purpose. What was it that happened in the past that actually why was it that men had purpose in the past? What did they do differently than we do today? Well, one thing that they did, they had religion. So that gave them an eternal picture of things. And they basically were trying to avoid being sent to hell. And so they would, act accordingly throughout their lives. And some were really good, honest, integral men as a result because they were trying to live religiously. Obviously, religion has a lot of very interesting things that causes people to be stunted in their growth. Okay, DM me if you have questions about that. But in many ways, it prevents high performance. I've noticed quite a lot. Other people will say, no, it helps me to perform amazingly as a result of my religion. Great, good for you. I had the complete opposite experience. My religion completely held me back from success. Massively, okay? But that's not what we're discussing today. I want to discuss in terms of what was the purpose that they had in the past. One was religion. Number two was that every single man, not every single man, but the vast majority of men were waiting to have sexual relations until they committed for life. And that could be as a result of religion, but also because of societal norms, because most people were living according to Christianity in the Western world. And so men weren't having the purpose of sleeping around. They weren't having as a purpose, or the immediate gratification was not immediately available, if that makes sense. So they had a purpose because they always had a goal, right? You grow up as a young man, you're 12, 13, 14 years old, and you see the neighbor's daughter, and you're like, damn, right? They probably didn't use those words back in the day, but they saw that girl, or he saw that girl, he had a goal now. And it wasn't to sleep with her. It was, I'm going to do everything I can in my best ability to become the best possible catch so that the neighbor's girl will want me when we're of age enough to get married. So that was his purpose throughout his entire teenage years, probably, so that he would get that girl. That gave him purpose. And then once he actually got a family, he got kids, and now he had purpose. Although it was probably difficult to perform in terms of providing and provisioning and protecting and all of those things that he had to do as a man, he now had a family that gave him purpose. And that was a good thing. I mean, it could be a bad thing because there was a lot of crap happening as a result of him being married and monogamy and all that stuff that happens there, but he had purpose at least. Okay, so if we look at now, what they say is that that's the biggest thing that is plaguing men today. Men look at marriage, okay, first of all, they sleep around, okay, and it's not difficult to get women these days. A lot of women are burdened, and because of that, they are basically trying to get laid just as much as men are, right? And there's nothing wrong with being laid. There's no religious, sometimes there are, but vast majority of times right now for girls, they're just like, they're free to do whatever they want sexually. They can go out and party during the weekends and no one, bats an eye, okay? So it's not hard to get girls if you want to get that. Obviously, I understand that there are incels out there who really struggle to get girls because of their circumstance, but for a man who's trying to become successful, it's not really difficult to get girls. But, there's a small percentage of the population that believes that that's the biggest problem men are facing today, because that's the biggest problem that they have in their lives. But you see the picture though? They had purpose in the past. Today, there's not much purpose because you get a girlfriend, but I don't like women these days because they screw me over all the time, or they cheat and they lie and they break up with me and they're so rude, blah, blah, blah. And also they're, feminist and they're so difficult and masculine and they're not very pretty, blah. You can have tons of excuses in terms of not wanting to commit to a woman, and they're completely understandable in a lot of cases. And for those of you guys who know my channel, I'm completely against marriage, okay? But I'm also 100% completely against sleeping around. Can you manage to combine those two? Yeah, you can. So, but you still don't have purpose. Because you're sleeping around, there's no goal. What's the goal? Well, I'm going to get laid this weekend. Great. What's your next goal? Well, I guess get laid again next weekend. Okay, what's your goal after that? I guess I want success in some form, but I don't really want to work for it. And I see all these people getting it real quick, and maybe I can get a quick buck somewhere. It didn't work out. Yeah, whatever. This is kind of how men live their lives, and then they just want to get laid again. No wonder men don't have a purpose, right? Okay, so anyway, no positive community. That could help you to find purpose, because if you are in a positive community, usually they have goals, usually they're going somewhere, and usually they have a purpose. But in many ways, you first have to have a purpose in order for you to want to change your environment or change your community. It's not the other way around. It's like, very often guys don't want to be in the same environment as successful guys if they're not successful themselves. You get what I'm saying? Like, they want first to become successful, and then they'll basically set up their positive community, but that don't work, right? It doesn't. You need to want success. Once you want success and desire with all your heart, and you find your purpose, that's very often when you make the hard decision of leaving the community that you've been with behind to move towards a more positive community. It's extremely difficult to move outside of your environment if you don't have a reason to do so. The reason, the why, the purpose. So completely understand. And confused identity, I guess all of this really goes under lack of purpose. Unstable finances. Is it the biggest issue? Well, if you had a goal, if you had a purpose, your finances wouldn't be unstable, would they be? Also, what about those that are addicted to prawn? That's, I'll tell you right now, is only because of a lack of purpose. You lack a strong why. Well, my why is that I want to get rid of prawn. I don't want it in my life anymore, and it's been inflicting me for years. The only reason why you're still doing it is because you lack a purpose. You don't have a bigger why. Because if you look at it, and I'm just going to briefly put this in this video and explain this real quick, because there's a lot of you guys who are addicted to prawn. What do you know? What's the problem here? Well, you want to get out of it. Great. So you're watching all these NoFap videos, watching all these SR videos, and you want to get out of it. Fantastic. But you're focused on it, and you get what you focus on, which means you're going to get more of PMO and NoFap videos and SR, and you're going to keep doing the loop and the hamster wheel of staying put in that circumstance. Because that's your purpose. It's almost as if being a prawn addicted person is your purpose. So you're going to get that addiction and remain in that addiction. You're thinking small. You're thinking puny. You're thinking tiny. You're thinking about yourself. That's the problem. Right? If you have someone else who you are afflicting because of your prawn issue, like if you're married, for example, then you may be affecting your kids, you may be affecting your wife, and as a result, you begin to try to go through a process for you to get, get rid of it, right? But if you have no kids, you have no wife, you have no thing happening right now that's stopping you from watching it, so immediate gratification is yours for the taking. What's your reason? You don't have a reason, and so you relapse again and again and again. See, the biggest thing, I 100% agree with all of these people. A lack of purpose, a lack of a reason, a lack of a why is the biggest problem. But what does it actually mean? How do you actually get a purpose? How do you find your purpose? How does it, because if you find your purpose, guess what you're going to work on first? Your work ethic. You will not be thinking about your love life if you understand your purpose. It's not the girl. Because if the girl is your purpose, you will lose that girl. This will happen to you again and again and again and again, and it happened to me multiple times until I understood that was a repeating pattern. My love life, me being broken up with, was a repeating pattern because I made my purpose to marry them. I made my purpose to basically my whole life was revolved around them. Yuck. Yes, I agree. Okay, so you can't do that. It's going to mess you up, but it's also going to make you lose the girl you think you want. So it's a lose-lose. So don't make your woman your purpose. Ever. Okay? It's not how things work. But what about those guys in the past who made it their purpose to get married and then have sex and then get kids and all that stuff? Yeah, their life sucked the vast majority of the time because they prioritized wrongly. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of things. How do you find a purpose that works? Well, so should I do like the old guys? The past generations? Have religion, or even without a religion, should I just have the purpose of, staying celibate, abstinent before I get married, That's a very worthy goal, okay? It's way better than sleeping around. Trust me on that. Because sleeping around, you destroy women, destroy society, because women bring forth children, and they usually get married eventually. So you screw that guy over because you slept with his now wife, okay? Yeah, you're the homewrecker if you're sleeping casually with girls that will end up marrying someone else. Don't be that guy who wrecks homes, okay? It's unnecessary. You don't have to be that. So it would be way better if you had as a purpose to, I'm not gonna do it before I get married. Okay, so that is a good purpose. It helps a lot. And then over time, you get that goal, but then what happens once you have that goal? What happens once you're married and have kids? Well, then it's about provision, and then it's about creating a life for us, and then it's about achieving our goals together and achieving riches together and having a wonderful life. Isn't that really how this should be? No. Okay, I'll tell you right now that you are prioritizing horribly if you want the best. If you want the absolute ultimate lifestyle possible. You heard about good, better, best, okay? Or you could put worse in there because some of you guys are in this worse category, okay? But good would be to, let's say, for example, you don't want married, okay? You don't want the family and all that stuff. You just want to get rich. You want to, MGTOW your way through life, okay? That's good. That's way better than sleeping around, in my opinion. So if you're staying away from women and not destroying their life, in my opinion, yeah, maybe it actually is better that men who are incels actually go their own way so they don't mess up women and blame them and cause even more problems, okay? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, but anyway, moving on to the next one, which is better, which is the one actually committing to a woman and sticking to it and staying there throughout their entire lives and making it actually work. But what's an even better situation? The best situation is if you prioritize correctly. And what is that prioritization? Prioritize the money first. And prioritize being abstinent or celibate all the way until you've got the strong financial foundation for you to eventually get 3 women. Not 1, 3. Okay? We think a bit differently on this channel, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, make sure you subscribe and like. You want 3 women because monogamy don't work. What do I mean by it doesn't work? It creates problems that you cannot solve in that relationship. Ever. And what kind of problems are those? Okay? And I can go on and on about these problems, but I'll just say it to you right now that she will lose attraction to you multiple times, probably 80% of the entire time that you guys are together. She will not want to be with you. But she'll have you as a friend. Okay? That's the biggest problem that monogamy causes, is that you think that you're going to have a nice, wonderful time with your girlfriend that becomes your future wife, but marriage ends up becoming really, really difficult with one woman. The vast majority of the time. There might be a few exceptions, but there are very few exceptions. Well, I'll be that one exception. Yeah, good luck. No, monogamy don't work. What you need is to understand the emotional needs of women. If you understand the emotional needs of women, that will create purpose. Because you'll understand that, wow, I can actually have 3 women and I can retain them if I understand what I'm doing and I'm willing to take all of the blame. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Subscribe to my Women of High Value channel because I explain all of these principles there. The main principle that I want to share with you guys about having a purpose, and this is the biggest problem in your life today, is that you are thinking too small. And that's selfish. Okay, just like I said about prawn, the reason why they're thinking too small is because they're only thinking about themselves. They're only thinking about my problem. Once you begin to serve others and begin to think of the whole world, of all of humankind, and think, I want everyone to be happy. Okay, that's a big goal, right? I want to serve millions of people and make sure that they achieve their goals. That's a huge goal. Guess what? That's a purpose right there. And that's a purpose that you'll never achieve in your lifetime. That's a goal that you can never ever complete. That's the kind of goal that you need. That's the kind of purpose that every single man needs to have. A bigger picture of how things work. And if you understand the truth of that which works, okay, that's the definition of truth, is that which works. In the long run, in the big scheme of things, if you understand that, okay, then you will actually have a purpose. You will understand that my goal is to bring as many people to the truth as possible. What's the truth? The thing that works in the long run, in the big scheme of things. Practically, okay? Practical reality. We're talking about what is it that works. Happiness works. Yeah, I like that. Most people want to be happy. Okay, well, let's bring them to happiness. You can't force them. You got to figure out how can they get happiness and how can you help them get it, right? Peace and prosperity. Okay, that's something that works. When everyone's peaceful and harmonious, things work. Awesome. Let's get there. Prosperity. Can we actually do things that actually help move everyone towards prosperity? Absolutely. It's called capitalism. Okay, there's a purpose right there, because right now there's a lot of socialists coming out of the woodwork saying that we need to move towards communism because that's best for everyone. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You kidding me? That's a purpose right there. How can you have a lack of purpose when the whole world is suffering? When the whole world, literally right now, is going into lockdowns in different countries of the world, and there's political problems en masse where basically people are forcing people to get stuff that they need to have a choice over whether they get or not. That's a big problem. And if you make it your own problem, that I want to make sure that this never ever happens in history ever again, okay, then you can do your part in alleviating the situation in your puny, tiny little way the best you can. How can you do it? I'm going to give you the step-by-step process right now. I was going to make a video about the political situation, but I'll do that in the future at some point. Right now, what is it that you need to do? How can you get purpose as fast as possible? Understand the big picture. The big picture, I want 3 women, okay? And I want kids. I want to have a wonderful family. That's an amazing purpose, and it's going to take time, and it's not something you get into immediately. Great. It's a goal in the future. Okay, what do you need in order for that to happen? Or what do you need? Okay, let's add up a little bit for that purpose. I want everyone in the world to be happy. Okay, all right. Big goal, but let's figure out what is it that you can do right now to move slowly but surely, steadily towards that end goal. I want everyone to have peace and prosperity. Wow, big goal, okay, but it's the purpose. Wonderful. What can you do right now in this situation? What's the first thing that you can do? Well, okay, should I get women? Is that really the goal right now? No, right now you suck with women. And even if you're good with women, you suck at getting them to accept the 3-in-love lifestyle. So don't try to get women right now. It's not the time, and you need to learn female nature, and you need to set up what? Your financial foundation. Okay, so should I get a positive community? I definitely recommend it. The Men of High Value group, getting some coaching from me would definitely help you and super speed your process. But I tell you right now, your financial foundation is the number one thing you need to focus on. Number one. Even if you're a millionaire right now, you need more. You don't have enough. Okay? You need more. A lot more. Why? You want to create 3. A family of 3 women and having kids with them and create a family. You need more money and you need a stronger financial foundation. Not because they need your money, but because you want to provide a stable, secure environment where they don't need to work. Great. Okay, so we got a purpose right now, financial foundation. Okay, good. What about the happiness thing? You want to create happiness for everyone around the world. What's the best thing for you to do right now that will help millions, if not billions of people to increase in happiness over time? The number one thing that you need to do in order for that to become a reality, guess what? Is to build your flippin' financial foundation. Right? The more money you have, the more power you have. What's power? The ability to do So you need the ability to do in order to create the fantastic family you want to have in the future, but you also need the ability to do in order to create happiness for the vast majority of people. And you also need the ability to do in order for you to create peace on earth, prosperity, and to make big government way smaller. You need the ability to do. What's the fastest way to create the ability to do and to create power in your life? A strong financial foundation. You don't get the $1 million or set the goal for $1 million because of the $1 million. Right? You do it for all of those reasons that I've explained before, but you also do it so because of the person you become in the process of attaining those $1 million. You need to change. You can't remain the same person you are today because you're going to have the same problems. And if you have the same problems, which are your itty bitty me problems, you're never going to get the amount of happiness that you're looking for. You're never going to get the kind of freedom that you're looking for. Because freedom, happiness, truth, amazing lifestyle all comes from serving others. And that's where we get to this. Okay? What I was saying in terms of work ethic. This is why I talk about the 80-hour work week all the time, because that's a lifestyle. The 80-hour work week is the only way that you can create the kind of financial foundation that I'm talking about in order to achieve those huge, massive, humongous goals that we've just discussed. Your work ethic sucks. But why does it suck? Because you don't have a purpose. You don't have a reason, you don't have a why. I just explained them to you. Those are worthwhile goals. They're huge, but they're worthwhile goals. The way to get there is by you becoming more masculine, becoming more of a man, becoming a man who takes responsibility. Responsibility, not only for your own life, not only for the lives of your women and children, although that's great, but a true man, his love and his vision goes to saving all of humankind without force and allowing them to choose for themselves, and you as a man finding the optimal way that produces joy, bliss, and happiness, the truth, and then showing that to other people so that they can move towards the truth on their own free choice and volition. Life is fantastic if you understand what it means to have purpose. I've been blessed, okay? This is a gift that I've been given of understanding the big picture. Once you understand the big picture, you always have a why. And then it's just about intensifying it. And the best way to intensify that why is to get 3 jobs, menial, low-paid jobs, where you work 80 hours a week to rewire your brain and to be crushed, okay? 100% crushed, so that your desire to do greater things in life, like the big goals we spoke about, it starts growing and growing and growing, and then it explodes. And suddenly, you know for a fact that you're going to do big things. You're thinking too small. That's your biggest problem. And the solution is to do the 80-hour work week. Once you do the 80-hour work week and begin to think big, and you are okay with your spirit being crushed temporarily, because I don't want to be in this situation. I don't want to have 3 jobs. I don't want to work 80 hours for other people. I want to create my own business. Guess what? You might just temporarily need to be bossed around until you know. But I know I don't want to work for someone else. Yes, but you don't have the discipline. You don't have what's necessary for you to actually handle your own business. That's why for a time you need those 3 jobs to get that discipline. And once you have that discipline, anything's possible. One small step at a time, all of your dreams will be accomplished, and you'll be helping millions of others towards their dreams as well. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.